Boo, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I'm your host, Harry Rice. You are listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. And tonight, we had a game that completely baffled me, and for good reasons, because I don't understand the Montreal Canadiens. I do not understand this team. How we can play the way we did last night against the Rangers, and then come out and play the way we did against the Oilers, and have them be two completely different ways of playing. Both of them you score 4 goals in, one of them you get humiliated in, and the other you humiliate the team. Let's talk about this either way, though. The Canadiens, they played a very solid game tonight, I think. I mean, aside from just getting right into the game, I as long as they play like this going forward, they're going to be a good team. I don't know what they did differently compared to last night. Well, I do. We'll get into it, obviously, but I don't know how this team played the way they did against the Rangers, and then came out and played a very good game against the Edmonton Oilers and were able to beat them. So before we get into the notes of the actual game, of course, we have to talk about the lines, because you can't play hockey without lines, blah, blah, blah. We know this by now. So the opening lines for the Canadiens were Caulfield, Suzuki, Bolduc, Slafkovsky, Kapanen, Demidov, Anderson, Beck, Texier, and Veleno, Evans, Gallagher. Hudson, Dobson, Matheson, Carrier, and Struble, Engstrom were on the blue line. Yes, so unfortunately, Arbor Jackeye is a scratch tonight. Jakub Dobes gets the start between the pipes, and surprisingly, Samuel Montembeault will back him up tonight. So Jacob Fowler is a healthy scratch. Not that it really matters. He wasn't going to play tonight anyways. He played last night. The only way he was playing tonight is if somehow the Rangers had like 8 shots all game. That was the only way Fowler would have even probably been considered to go back-to-back. And as we all know, the lowest amount of shots you can get in the league is like 16 at this point. So decent goaltending. We'll see. Let's find out what type of goaltending we get from the Canadiens. For the Oilers, of course, having just pulled off a very bad trade. We'll get into that in a second. The opening lines for the Oilers were Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Hyman, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Savoy, Frederick, Henrique, Janmark, and Mangiapane, Lazar, Tomasek, at least up front. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Regula, and Stasny, Emberson were on the blue line. Calvin Pickard starts for the Canadiens. Unfortunately, we don't see Tristan Jarry for the second time in a week. He backs up Pickard, having played last night. I believe it was in Toronto where they were. I believe they beat the Maple Leafs 6-3, I want to say was the final score. And so that trade, which actually Stasny was technically part of that because they acquired him to be the replacement for Kulak in that spot. It's a bad trade for both teams in terms of goaltending. The Penguins probably get the worst goaltender. But the Oilers have to give up a second-round pick in exchange to get rid of that awful contract. But they also take on 2 more years of Tristan Jarry, which if he played like he did last night in Pittsburgh, not good is the correct response. Not good. Regardless, we'll see how both goaltenders play tonight, both Pickard and Jakub Dobes. We'll see if it's going to be another gong show like it usually is when Dobes is in net, or if he had a good game. We'll find out. So 16 seconds in, play is blown dead as one of the referees was stunned by a shot. And of course, that's on a scoring chance for the Canadiens. They don't blow it dead until Anderson basically has a clear route to the net, so naturally that's when they blow it dead. The refs want the face-off outside of the zone. The Habs do get it in the Oilers zone because the shot that hit the official was off of an Oiler in their zone. Nurse has a hit on Hudson without the puck. There's no call. Anderson gets found on a break. Pickard sticks with him all the way. Andy then gets hooked. He bitches instead of trying to play the puck because, of course, he would. There's an Engstrom shot that's tipped. Pickard tracks it. He makes a good save there. Carrier has a good hit on an Oiler in the corner. Dobes makes his first save of the game about 5 minutes in. McDavid gets a little bored from Kapanen, so of course that's a call. And on the delayed penalty, Slafkovsky hooks a man. That is called as well. So the Canadiens... Slafkovsky hooked Regula, by the way. Yeah. McDavid ends up getting a look up high before the power play is called. Dobes just save it. It's a full 2-minute 5-on-3 for the Edmonton Oilers. Because of course it would be. That's at 6:04. Early on, the Habs with good D. Hyman right in front. He tips a shot just wide. McDavid has a shot stopped by Dobes. There's another chance saved on Bouchard with a screen in front. Bouchard then breaks his stick on a slap chance. Evans gets a clear. Bouchard then hits his own man with a wide open net. The Habs clear it again. And at the exact same time, obviously, both men come out of the box. Habs are 2 for 2 on the penalty kill tonight. Habs with some momentum after that kill. There's a rush chance for Demidov. I give it. I mean, he's been looking good. And what a chance. Just can't get enough of it. Enough on it. There's a stick in front. There's another chance. It looked like he got tripped. There's no call. But moments later, the Canadiens do go to a power play halfway through. Regula is called for holding Slafkovsky. So Slaf hooked Regula. Regula held Slafkovsky. A very romantic way that heated rivalry has been going so far. That's a deep cut for anybody who goes on Crave often. Suzuki finds Demidov, but just can't get enough on the shot. The Oilers clear. Slafkovsky has a chance just wide. There's a look, but just doesn't take the shot. Galley has a tip on a shot just wide, and we score. Gallagher pushes Pickard's pad over the line, and it's immediately waved no goal. And yeah, it's actually it wasn't because he pushes Pickard's pad over the line on the replay. It's because he clearly kicks it in. Yeah. They review it, and maybe it takes a minute, if that. And yeah, confirmed. It's no goal, and unfortunately for Gallagher, that doesn't count because god damn it, he needs all the goals he can get at this stage in the game, or at this stage in the season, really, I should say. But overall, out of all fairness, it is absolutely the right call. That was clearly kicked in. Unfortunately. So, yeah. Habs are 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. The Habs look for a rush chance. Anderson turns one over. The Oilers press, I believe it's Nuge who gets a look. There's a bit of a scrum after Dobes is bumped. Habs cycle shortly after. There's a centering feed from Suzuki. A no-looker to Caulfield. Both chances there are stopped by Pickard. Good. Pickard played a very good game tonight. Despite allowing, spoiler, 4 goals, he played well. Well, it wasn't much of a spoiler if I said earlier that we scored 4 goals in both games. He did play a very good game, especially on the breakaway chances. He had a very solid game, did Calvin Pickard. Dobes, good stop on Matthew Savoy. The second chance goes off the post. No, put this in reading mode. There we go. Sorry. Bolduc then gets cross-checked hard by Bouchard. There's no call. And, of course, because we say that, the Habs then go to a penalty kill. 3:05 left in the first period. Texier is called for a hook on the Nuge. That was a little bit iffy. I kind of get why they called it, but it was a little bit iffy. Habs with a great kill, just shutting down McDavid, Dobson, and I believe it was Veleno with good full ice clears. Plenty of puck battles to kill off time. I didn't even mark that down in my notes, but the Canadiens were 3-4-3 on the penalty kill tonight. The final seconds, Oilers with a face-off, but they just can't get a shot. Speaking of the shots, they are 11-10 for the Oilers, but scoreless first period. So the Canadiens survive a little bit of an onslaught of ref ball in that first period. We'll see what the second period holds for the Canadiens and the Oilers. In the second period, Caulfield nearly banks one in off a good look. There's a good hit from Anderson. Engstrom has a shot to the net. That's wide. He gets another one moments later. That's stopped. Habs then go to a power play at 2:17. Ekholm gets called for a trip on Ivan Demidov. So they said, oh, wait, never mind. We score right off, not really right off the draw, about 15 seconds after at 2:28. Ivan Demidov, it's a beauty. Right off the draw, the Habs get a little bit of a cycle going on. It eventually finds its way to Demidov, who has a Slafkovsky screen in front. Beauty of a wrister, a bullet, if you will, in the back of the net. Habs take the lead at 2:28. Like I said, Demidov with his 7th of the year. He scores from Slafkovsky and Hudson. So Lane Hudson with now 5 assists in his last 3 games. He's been quite good recently, if you will. Slafkovsky again with the screen. Look what happens when you put the big man in front of the net. Habs are 1-4-2 on the power play. The Oilers press. There's good D from the Canadiens. A couple turnovers. Anderson has speed but just can't find a pass. Suzuki off a turnover. He gets on a break and he just loses balance. I believe he still technically gets a shot off because that was counted as one of the 4 breakaways that that Pickard would make tonight. Bolduc finds Caulfield, but that's turned over in front of the Oilers' net. Dobes has a good poke as Hyman races in on a loose puck. Oilers press, but Colson goes wide of the glove. Might have meant wide of the net, but either way, Colson was wide. On the long-range shot, there's a shot stopped by Dobes. Delayed penalty to the Canadiens. There's a slash called on Regula. Never mind, I meant delayed penalty to the Oilers. I just realized the way I put that was kind of wonky. Habs do press before the power play. Demidov has a good one-timer. That's stopped. Demidov on the power play is wide open, but passing lanes just aren't there for him, unfortunately. Demidov eventually does get a shot. The rebound all out to the circle. Caulfield just can't bury it. Oilers in the second half do get clears and some board play to kill time. Habs are 1-for-3 on the power play tonight. Oilers push for the tying goal, but Anderson ends up icing one. Sorry. Alright, there we go, yeah. Habs and some board play, Evans and Veleno in there, and we end up scoring. A little bit of pressure, McDavid behind the net, an elite pass to Joe Veleno. Good to see Connor McDavid in the blue, blanc et rouge. He passes that right to Joe Veleno, makes no mistake, buries it home. That comes with 8:02 left in the second period. Veleno with his second goal as a Canadian. Since his first point, he's been fairly okay. He gets his second of the year completely unassisted. It's a 2-0 Habs lead. Habs immediately then press for the 3-0 lead. Gallagher ends up poking at a puck after it's covered. Bit of a scrum. Suzuki's on another break, his second of the period, and a pad stop for Pickard. Suzuki had a good game. But yeah, realistically, he probably should have scored on both of those, but Pickard was just good, and also Suzuki didn't really go for any dekes or anything. He just did a thing. Matheson has a good hit on a McDavid. Anderson then hits an Oiler a second later. Habs get Hendon for a minute straight, but Texier eventually gets on a break with everybody on both teams very slow. Texier with the shot and another pad save for Pickard. Oilers end up icing it moments later. Henrique rushes in off a draw. Scramble. There's a scramble in front, but the Habs then ice the puck themselves. There's a good save for Dobes. He squeezes and holds off of a chance in front. Jones and Engstrom get involved with each other in front of the net. Engstrom, I like to see him getting a little bit physical with somebody. Suzuki finds Gallagher on a near 2-on-1. That was a decent look. Suzuki then drops to Caulfield, who has the one-timer, but that's just wide. And with 13 seconds left, the Habs go to the penalty kill. Anderson's called for a hold as he skates right into Nurse on a near break. Big brain IQ, I guess. Habs clear right off the draw. They have about a minute 46 of penalty kill time. Shots are 22-18 for the Canadiens. They have a 2-0 lead after the second period. Hell yeah. In the third period, the Habs do clear off a draw again. Oilers set up. Bouchard misses a near wide open net. Habs get the kill. Simple as that. Habs are 4-for-4 on the penalty kill. Anderson gets cross-checked low by Frederick. He goes down a bit easy. Frederick then cross-checks Carrier hard into the boards. Anderson goes right after him. Frederick drops the gloves, and he doesn't. Carrier thankfully up. He's not hurt. And, so Habs end up going to a power play. Frederick is called too for the cross-check on Carrier. No clue why Anderson didn't fight him there. That was a clearly dirty shot. And, Canadiens look for something after Oilers clear. And we score. Nick Suzuki. Wide open net. He deflects it. Wide open net. He deflects it in. He gets his 9th of the year. Good shot. Well, more or less basically kind of a pass, but a good pass by Slafkovsky. Goes off Suzuki's skates and in, showing Gallagher how it's done. You don't kick it, you deflect it. Suzuki scores, like I said, from Slafkovsky and Hudson at 3:38. The Canadiens now 2-for-3 on the power play tonight. Suzuki, he's got a 5-game point streak. Good for the captain. Good to see him working hard, hoping to get on Team Canada, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's a foregone conclusion. He'll be on Team Canada. Very slow pace to the game for a couple minutes. Oilers almost seemed wanting to just run down the time at this point. They know they're not going to come back in the game. They know they're not going to win. And, they just wanted to run it down. Hudson has a slapper from the line, but that's deflected out. Oilers press, trying to break past Dobes. There's one look that comes out, but it's not called on an offside. There's a good stop for Dobes on, I believe it was Podkolzin. He comes all the way out to squeeze that one. Habs do a great job shutting down the top line for Edmonton. McDavid gets poked by Gallagher, and that goes all the way back to Calvin Pickard. Come on, I know. Habs then go to a penalty kill as Demidov's called for a high stick on Nurse. He goes to get the puck out of his stick, and it ends up riding up and hits Nurse in the face. Unfortunately, not in the eye. And they end up scoring on the power play. Hyman on the doorstep puts home a rebound on a Bouchard chance. Matheson, what a spoiler on the ice for that goal. He does not cover Hyman at all. Would have been really easy to at least slash at the stick, but he doesn't. The Habs 4 for 5 on the penalty kill tonight. You give the Oilers 5 power plays, they're probably going to score on one of them. So, yeah, Hyman gets his 7th of the year. I believe he has played, what is it? It's only 11 or so games since he's come back from injury, I believe, right? It is, I'm pretty sure HockeyDB's updated it. Oh, sorry, it's 7 goals, 11 points he has in 14 games. So he's looking back to his 50-goal season of 2 years ago, because last year was a huge disappointment, and understandably so, because it's Zach Hyman. But yeah, he's looking good so far in his first stretch back from injury. We'll see if we can keep it up going forward. So it's a 3-1 game. Oilers rush. Ekholm has a shot wide. Habs end up icing the puck twice, but the Canadiens do get a clear. And then off of a poke, Texier's up with it. He's got a 2-on-1 with Gallagher. He takes the shot, and he scores up high. Alex Texier, with just under 7 minutes left in the game, he puts it home. He scores from Struble with the only assist on that one. Good for Strubes. He makes it 4-1. Does Texier? Texier's looked very respectable since joining the Montreal Canadiens. Happy to see that. Always could use some depth scoring. When everybody gets healthy, he should be a quite solid fourth-line guy. There's a goalie pull with 4:30 left for the Oilers. Slav can't get it in with a stick deflecting his shot wide. That would have been nice. Slav deserved another goal tonight. I guess technically a goal because, again, Suzuki deflects his in. But Slav deserved a goal tonight. Would have been nice to see him hit double-digit goals this early in the season. Oilers do pressure. There's Veleno had a good defensive game tonight. Canadiens fans don't give Veleno enough credit at times like this when he actually does play good. Draisaitl on a potential one-timer. Veleno just gets a stick in there twice to break that up. Oilers do cycle. The Canadiens get have an icing go against them. It wasn't icing, but you feel like spicing it up once in a while with the dialogue. There's a puck that ends up in the crease of Dobes, and we get a bit of a scrum. Mangiapane punches Matheson a few times while Anderson and Frederick are tied up. Somehow, no penalties out of this. Not even like to give the Canadiens an advantage, but just surprised they wouldn't take both Anderson and Frederick, given what they did earlier in the game. Just go 4-on-4. Or I guess technically it'd be 5-on-4 with the Oilers pulling the goalie, but surprised there was nothing there. But they just said, whatever, late in the game, let it go. Habs end up icing another puck. Matheson at this point is out for 4 minutes and 23 seconds with a minute left in the game. Very surprised the Canadiens didn't allow 3 for the Oilers to tie it up. Matheson then finally goes off after a 4:48 shift with 36 seconds left in the game. The boys love that. They were smiling, dapping him up at the benches. A few times like this where it's like, all right, that is very cool to see with Mike Matheson. Nearly 5 minutes. Would have liked to see him play the rest of the game, but Marty probably just saying, yeah, bring him in, whatever. He doesn't need to play the end of the game. Oilers do put Pickard back in net with 30 seconds left. Nothing to note. That does it. The Canadiens pick up the 4-1 win. The final shots were 28-27 for the Oilers. So they did press. They ended up getting one, but that would be all they get. Canadiens with a huge win. Oh, by the way, I don't think I said it, but Hyman scores from Bouchard and McDavid. Just wanted to give the assist in case I missed it. But the Canadiens pick up a big win, a much-needed one after they threw away the game against the New York Rangers last night. Still did get a point out of that. That was half decent enough. However, a game like this, you didn't need to just have a fluky, you just happen to get 4 good shots. No, the Canadiens, I thought, played a good game. I thought that they actually looked very respectable. I thought that they played a very good, grounded game. They weren't afraid to play defense when they were in offensive. They were getting a little bit aggressive, but smart aggressive. Hudson, I like to see him shooting a little more. Demidov, once he scored that goal, his confidence seemed to get up there. He was not afraid to shoot the puck as much as he ended up doing tonight. I want to say he had 3 or 4 shots and 6 or 7 shot attempts. He needed a couple shots tonight, and I'm glad that he got one going his way. And yeah, assuming the Canadiens can keep playing the way they played tonight going forward, they're going to have a good stretch of games coming up. I mean, the Canadiens for the rest of the month, they're going to be challenged a little bit. The Canadiens, after the first 4 games, they have the Flyers on the 16th, who they play. That's on Tuesday. All of these, by the way, are 7 p.m. starts, except for one on the 28th. We'll talk about that. Then they're actually at home for a nice little 3-game homestand with the Flyers game. Then they play Thursday against Chicago, and then Saturday and Sunday, it's a home-and-home with the Pittsburgh Penguins, who, having just blown 2 straight multi-goal losses, of course, the 5-1 lead they blew to the Sharks, and the 3-0 lead they blew to Utah in both in the third periods of those games. If their confidence continues to suffer into that back-to-back, the Canadiens, assuming they play the way they did tonight, should be able to take advantage of that. Then on the 23rd, last game before Christmas, on Festivus, we play the Boston Bruins. That's right. A lovely, lovely Christmas matchup with everyone's favorite hated rivals. Then, of course, obviously, we're off for Christmas. Let the football players have the Christmas Day games. However, we do come back on Sunday, the 28th. We play a 5 p.m. start time against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then we ended off on the 30th with a game against the Florida Panthers for the month. So, a couple challenges in there. Blackhawks are quite good. The Flyers are having themselves an okay season. Boston, at least stats-wise, they're okay. Even though they just got destroyed by the Minnesota Wild tonight with Quinn Hughes making his Canucks Wild debut. Shout out Zeev Buium for the Canucks. He had a very good debut tonight. This afternoon as well. But yeah, and then going to Tampa and Florida, those are going to be huge games in the standings. Again, I know we're, right now at least, only middle of December, but still, you can't just, wait to track the standings in March, and it's like, oh, we're 15 points out. Oh, no, when did this happen? You got to start tracking them early, and especially at a time like this when the standings are so jam-packed and just, then you got to do some watching now and then. So, yeah. And speaking of the standings, as of tonight, after this game, the Canadiens are actually 3rd in the Atlantic Division. So we actually do overtake the Boston Bruins with a game in hand on them as well. Now 1 point back of both Detroit and Tampa Bay. So, yeah. Canadiens are going to have a good little stretch here coming up to end the month of December. We'll see how they can do in these games. We'll see if they are above NHL 500 by the end of the month. Would love a Christmas gift of beating Boston, but we'll see. Or I guess you could say a Festivus miracle since it's the 23rd. But we shall see. Maybe our Christmas miracle is beating Tampa Bay on the 20th, because we cannot seem to beat those fucking guys as of 2021 onwards. So yeah, that is going to do it for the actual game recap. Let's do the stats, and then let's get on out of here. Of course, Noah Dobson leads the... No, unfortunately not. As cool as that would be, Nick Suzuki is obviously the guy who leads the Canadiens in stats. I just want someone different for once. Caulfield should get there for a game or two, and then Suzuki can overtake him and take back like a 25-point lead on everybody. There's going to be one of those seasons where he's just that fucking good. Would not surprise me. But the captain, Nick Suzuki, leads the Canadiens again with 9 goals, 28 assists, and 37 points. He is on a 5-game point streak. Cole Caulfield, he leads the Canadiens in goals. He leads the Canadiens in goals with 17. He also has 16 assists for 33 points. Lane Hutson with 5 goals and 23 assists for 28 points. He has 14 points in his last 12 games and also 6 assists in his last 3 games. Lane Hutson is just that damn good. Speaking of just that damn good, Ivan Demidov with 7 goals and 18 assists for 25 points. Yaroslav with 9 goals, 11 assists for 20 points. He has 4 assists in his last 3 games. Very respectable for Slaffies. Noah Dobson. There he is. He's got 4 goals, 14 assists for 18 points. Oliver Kapanen has 10 goals, 6 assists for 16 points. Mike Matheson with 4 goals, 12 assists, 16 points, and a -7 in his last 9 games. He actually was a +1 tonight. Very surprising. Very lucky that power play goals do not count against the +-. Zach Bolduc with 7 goals, 7 assists for 14 points. Alex Newhook, who is still unfortunately hurt, with 6 goals and 6 assists for 12 points on the year. Brendan Gallagher with 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. Josh Anderson has 6 goals, 3 assists for 9 points on the year. Jake Evans, I know it's weird not having all these pointless droughts, right? Yeah, I know. Jake Evans has 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. Alex Carrier with a respectable 1 goal, 8 assists for 9 points. Kirby Dach, who's unfortunately still hurt, had 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. Alex Texier, with his time as a Canadian, has 2 goals and 3 assists for 5 points. Jaden Struble has 5 assists, and he breaks an 11-game pointless drought. Good for him. Joe Veleno with 2 goals and an assist for 3 points. Caden Gooley, who's unfortunately still hurt, and Arbor Jacki, they both have a goal and an assist for 2 points. Patrick Laine, who's unfortunately still hurt. Florian Jacki, who's in the AHL, and Jared Davidson, who is a healthy scratch tonight, all have an assist on the year. Arbor Jacki, who no longer has his 25-game pointless drought. I only say unfortunately just because I loved recapping that after every game. It was very fun. He does lead the Canadiens, though, with 4 fights. Jaden Struble has 2. Josh Anderson, Joe Veleno, Caden Gooley, and Florian Jacki all have a fight. As for the goaltenders, Jakub Dobes has an 11-5-2 record. He's got a 3.03 goals against average and an .892 save percentage. He's that close to bringing that goals against average with 2. He's going to do it. I believe in him. Samuel Montembeault, he has a 5-6-1 record with a 3.65 goals against average and .857 save percentage. And Jacob Fowler, he's got a 1-0-1 record with a 3.42 goals against average and an .891 save percentage. That is what playing in front of the Montreal Canadiens will do to a goaltender. A fantastic game, and then a game where the blue line lets you down. We'll see. I assume it'll probably be... I imagine going forward the tandem will be Dobes and Fowler, and I assume they're either going to look to trade Samuel Montembeault or use him as a third goaltender. We shall see, though, what happens there. So, yeah, that is going to do it for the stats. That's going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, Amazon, wherever else you might be listening to this, don't forget to hit the follow button. That's much appreciated. Thank you all again so much for watching. Please do not forget as well to share with anybody who you think might enjoy the podcast, whether they're a Canadiens fan looking for a podcast, a hockey fan who wants a Canadiens podcast to listen to, or somebody who you think just might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for half an hour after every game. Regardless, that will do it. Thank you all so much for watching. And always remember, no matter how bad no matter how good we are like last year, how good we are like this year, or how good we'll be in the future, go Habs go, Anne Montreal, and say it with me everybody, c'est la boo!